pandemic trapped a bunch of aging role-playing gamers in their homes, forcing them to crawl out of their pen and paper comfort zone and into the online world of virtual tabletops and video calls. So join them as they raise the curtain to share their stories, insights, and love of all things geek. So grab your longsword and your +1 bottle of Viagra and get ready for another episode of Advanced Age Role-Playing Gamers Podcast. That's a lot of syllables for one sentence.
Welcome to the Advanced Age Role-Playing Gamers Podcast presentation of Playing with Myself. My name is Matt, and in this series, I take a deep dive into different rule systems and game mechanics in the games that we play our stories in. For this episode, we're going to be looking at Free League Publishing's Twilight 2000 4th edition, and this is a topic that we had some requests on. So today, we're going to be talking about ammo dice. But before we get started on this latest episode, I'd like to draw your attention to the little stat box here on this sheet. We've had, we're just amazed at the amount of support, the number of viewers, the number of folks that have subscribed. But as you can see, about 70% of our viewing time on YouTube is for folks that are not subscribed. So look, I'm not perfect. I haven't subscribed to every artist that I watch on YouTube. So I'm just as guilty. But look, we're really trying to make that push for that magic 1,000. And so if you're listening and you like what you hear, like what you see, just go ahead and smash that subscribe button. We're super appreciative of it. Helps us reach more people. Again, thank you very much for your support. And let's get on with this episode. Because no matter whether you shoot like this guy or like these guys, you're going to want to know all you can about ammo dice. In this tutorial, we're going to be taking a look at ammo dice. So what are ammo dice? How do I use ammo dice? And what are the effects of ammo dice have, both good and bad? So let's jump right in. So what are ammo dice? Well, for one thing, we're going to start with what they're not. So ammo dice are not literal representations of the number of bullets you've fired, but instead it's more of a complex concept of firing more than one round of ammunition. It represents a bunch of factors like the weapon's rate of fire, the different firing options that it might have, either like semi-automatic, burst, fully automatic. And it provides a great mechanism to sort of force the players to choose between putting more lead down range and possibly hitting more targets, causing more damage, but also taking a serious look at managing probably what is one of the greatest resources in the game, which is ammunition. So let's take a look at the actual ammo dice themselves. You can see here in this little dice roller, we've got some ammo dice, which are yellow, and then your traditional sort of olive drab green dice for all of your regular rolls and activities. Ammo dice will have one of three different kinds of facings. On the left, you can see there's sort of like an explosion. That's your sort of like your fail, sort of critical fail marker, and that is very similar to the other, the standard dice. Then you're going to have the numerals 2, 3, 4, and 5, just like you would on any six-sided dice. And then you can see on the right there, instead of the 6 or the crosshair, you have a bullet, right? That's like your success marker on the ammo dice. Sort of looking at both sets of dice next to each other, you can see the similarities, right? So both your regular dice have that same explosion symbol for sort of like the critical fail. But instead of having a bullet, you have like the crosshair is your success die on your standard die. So that's physically what your ammo dice are going to look like compared to your regular dice. So the next thing we're going to look at is how do you use ammo dice in the game and what kind of effects do they have? So the first thing you're going to want to know when you're thinking about using ammo dice is how many can I use with the particular weapon that I've got. So if you take a look here at the AK-74, you're going to see that it has a rate of fire of 5. That means as long as you've got 5 rounds of ammunition, you can roll as many as 5 ammo dice when you make an attack. So that's basically your two limiting factors on how many dice you can roll: the rate of fire of the weapon and the number of rounds that are remaining. One of the things that, after reading back and forth several times in the rules, and I don't know if we had done this or not when we played, was we have a rate of fire of 1. So this is where it's interesting, because according to the rules, when you're using ammo dice, you're basically firing more than one round. So you cannot roll ammo dice if you're firing a single shot. It is only if you are firing more than one round of ammunition. So I think that if you have a rifle that has a rate of fire of 1, you may not be able to use ammo dice. So this is like some of the sniper rifles out there. Although we did have Chris's character had a sniper rifle that had a rate of fire of 2. They could have used a ammo die for that. So that is one of the things where we probably didn't do this correctly. But going back and reading several times back and forth, you do not use an ammo die when you use a single round of ammunition. All right, so that's how you could tell how many dice that you can roll when you're making how many ammo dice you want to use for an attack. So conceivably, if you were going to just pull the trigger as much as you wanted here, you'd be rolling as many as 5 ammo dice plus the 2 regular dice that you would roll for making a regular ranged attack if you had both, for your attribute and if you had the ranged attack skill. So what are the good and bad of using ammo dice, right? So there's consequences for every action. So let's take a look at them. Well, for one, if you get a success on an ammo die, it's a little bit different than getting a success on a regular die. So for each success you get on an ammo die, so you get the little bullet symbol, the player can choose to score another hit on the same target. They can choose to increase the damage by the attack by 1. Or they can choose to hit another target in the same hex, with the caveat that any additional targets that you hit can't be any harder to hit than the original target, right? So if you're shooting at an enemy soldier who is running across open terrain and you got a few successes on your ammo die, you couldn't say, okay, well, I hit him and I also hit the guy that's hiding behind the tree 20 meters away, right? So you'd have to go and try to hit the hardest target to hit in that hex. And then you could have the freedom to sort of spread your any additional hits freely within that hex. However, so we did notice or note that it's different than a success on a regular die. And so the big one is that successes on ammo dice do not help you hit your target. So if you don't hit your target, but you get a bunch of successes on your ammo dice, you don't hit the target. However, you do sort of get the benefit is that even if you miss with your attack and you get at least 1 success on your ammo die, you still force the target to have to make a coolness under fire check. So, and this kind of makes sense, right? So maybe you're spraying a whole lot of rounds down range. Maybe that's not very accurate, but you know what? It's still a lot of rounds going down range, hitting stuff flying over people's heads. It's a good chance they're going to want to duck down. So you can still get some added benefit even if you miss your target. The flip side of getting one of these little bullets or the successes is the explosion. So these are the little fails. They don't have any effect on your initial attack. However, if you decide to go ahead and push the roll because you've missed with your attack dice, any of the explosion symbols will reduce the reliability of your weapon. And that includes any that you originally rolled and any additional that you rolled when you pushed the attack. In addition to reducing the reliability of your weapon, if you get 2 or more little explosion symbols, your weapon has jammed. So that's another thing you have to look at is get the greater chance of scoring additional hits, but you're also increasing the chance that you might get a jam in your weapon and also break your weapon. Of course, what could be the most important consequence of using ammo dice is the expenditure of all of the ammunition. Now, I know this is something that we did wrong during our podcast, and I myself as a player was guilty of doing it wrong because I had Pavlov almost every time he fired his AK-74, he fired all 5 ammo dice because he had no skill and he was basically just pulling the trigger, spraying and praying, and hope just to make a bunch of noise and maybe luckily hit something, which he almost never did. So when we played, we said, okay, well, I use 5 ammo dice. That takes 5 rounds off my magazine. Actually, going back and reading the rules, it was like, oh my goodness. So for every ammo die that you expend, you roll a d6, and that's how many rounds of ammunition that you expended for that one ammo die. So in theory, if I had rolled a 5 ammo dice with my attack and the AK-74 has a 30-round mag, I'm rolling 5d6 with the potential max of basically burning through my magazine in just one attack roll. So if you are counting your rounds, if that matters, if you're low, you really want to look at, you're taking a cost benefit sort of model of, do I roll this extra die because I really need that extra chance of getting a success or being able to do more damage or hit more targets, or is this going to backfire and I'm going to run out of ammunition in this fight? So that's something to consider. It is very costly in ammo to use ammo dice. So just for fun, we're going to just do a really quick sort of like what if or an example of ammo dice in play. So sticking with our 3 adventurers from before, Larry, Curly, and Mo. In this particular scenario, Larry and Mo are hiding behind some barriers, and a wave of zombified Curlies are racing or plodding along a field toward them. And so we're going to use that as our sort of ridiculous scenario for the example for for ammo dice today. So for this, we're actually going to use some real dice and do a couple real live recorded rolls. We're just going to say that Larry and Mo have a D8 and a D8 for their ranged attacks. This is open ground. They're within the first range increment. So we're not going to, have any additional modifiers to the roll, just a straight D8 and D8. Both Larry and Mo each have a AK-74 and 1 extra magazine, so 60 rounds. So we can see here, and both of their weapons are going to start in fully operational, good category. So they have a reliability of A. So as the encounter begins, both Larry and Mo are going to open up with a fully automatic fire at the horde of zombie Curlies that are coming at them. And so each one is going to expend all 5 ammo dice available for them. So Larry decides to go ahead and take his extra success that he got, and he's going to apply that to take out or hit a second zombie that's coming at him. And Larry can do that because he both got a success on his regular attack die, and he got 1 bullet / success on his ammo die. He did get 1 explosion, but those don't have any effect on the initial attack, and he chooses to not push this attack to try to get it better. He's happy with the results. So Mo, on the other hand, only makes, he hits with his basic attack, but didn't get any additional successes with his ammo dice. Now, I didn't record that particular roll, but what you are going to see is that he goes ahead and decides that he's going to push the attack. So when you push the attack, you roll all the dice except for your successes and any of the explosions. So he sets aside the 1 success die from his original attack and the explosion from his original set of ammo dice. And as he rolls again, we can see that he does pick up a second success, and he gets gets a success on his ammo die. So now Mo can not only hit the first target, he can decide to do extra damage to it. And he also decides to use that success from the bullet die and hit a second zombie that's coming at him. However, because he got a total of 2 explosions on his when he did the push roll, that means not only does his AK-74 lose 2 levels of reliability, it also means that his weapon is jammed, and he's either going to have to switch weapons or he's going to have to make a roll to unjam that in the next round. So now it comes time to see just how much ammunition they expended. So Larry's success comes at a pretty high price, 27 rounds of ammo, right? So each of those bullets on that roll is 6 rounds expended. So although he was able to take out 2 of the zombies, he's almost completely emptied his first magazine. Mo doesn't spend as many points, but it does cost him 20 rounds, a little over half of his magazine, to score his 2 successes, and with the jam and the reduced reliability. Both of these adventurers have some tough decisions to make on their next round, but you can see that there are advantages to using your bullet dice, and there are definitely some drawbacks. So thank you very much. This concludes sort of a brief sort of focused deep dive on ammo dice in Free League Publishing's Twilight 2000 4th edition. Please, as always, appreciate feedback, comments. If we got something wrong, let us know. And if you've got other topics about Twilight 2000 that maybe you'd like to see us sort of deep dive into, just let us know. You can just reach us on Twitter and here on YouTube as well. All right. Well, thank you very much. And until next time, I'm just going to go back to the drawing board and keep playing with myself.